Hello, and thank you for staying with us. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with the amazing Carolyn Michael Banks with a tour of possibilities. I hope you've gone to her website so you can schedule your tour as well. So, there are women who talk about changing the world, and then there are women who are actually doing the work each and every day. My next guest advises governments and global corporations and communities across the continent. She is a Goldman Sachs scholar, a certified project management professional, and the CEO of Jamerson Strategic Consulting. She champions women's economic development and empowerment, international trade, and leadership development with a passion that is absolutely contagious. Everybody, help me welcome my guest, Her Royal Highness, Lady Jiljuana Coleman. She is here in person, you all. Look. Hi there.
Hi.
So we have had some conversations, and I wish we had been recording it because when I heard you talk about, that son of yours, it brings me joy because I have five and I can relate. So let's just stick to business right here because I know people want to know so much about you, and what you're going to share will definitely be insightful and enlightening for us. So you built a career that spans global consulting, diplomacy, and economic development across two continents. What ignited that journey, and what does your past say about evolving the role of women in leadership today?
Loretta, thank you so much for having me. As I've told you before, I'm super excited to be here. In terms of my trajectory, how I ended up here, it all started when I was very young. I would study different cultures, I would teach myself different languages. And I just had this superhuman, what I'm going to call her, my mom, who encouraged everything that I did. She never let my light go out or be dimmed. And she said, if you want to do it, you want to achieve it, keep God first and go for it. And as I began to, kind of grow in my career, get more experience, go to university on many different levels, I realized that I had an uncanny ability to understand situations, to be able to read the room and to hear what people weren't saying out loud. And that led me to where I am now, having my own company, being the voice of nations, being the voice of community, and championing women's rights. And it's my pride, my joy to make sure that women are represented on a global scale.
Wow. And so I noticed, and I want people to notice that I did call her Royal Highness because she really is royalty. And the fact that she just walks around like I walk around like I should be royalty, but I am not legally royalty, but she is legally royalty. So can you share a little bit of how that happened?
I will. Again, a great question. I am a native Memphian, and I've lived and worked, all over the world, practically in different places, learned many languages. And during my career, I was so blessed to be able to be selected as a VIP diplomatic liaison for His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Tutu II, the Asantehene of the Asante Kingdom in the Republic of Ghana. During my time in working with him, he saw this light in me, and he continued to encourage it and tell me that there was more for me to do. And he then at that point, had a private conversation with me, notifying me that he was adopting me as his daughter and that I should continue the work, that I should be a representative and an ambassador of what diaspora relations look like, and connecting people back to the continent, and then also bringing them home. So that is my mission, my decree. And I'm so grateful that he has accepted me as a daughter as I have accepted him as a father.
And I know it's not as quick as that, but there's a huge process, and I want you to come back and share that. And I want to see pictures. And I tell you, it is so deserving of you. You really do the work, and a lot of your work is done like under the radar, underground, so to speak, because of your clients and your constituency and the oath that you took. So I'm just really happy about that. So moving along to your women empowerment and how important that is to you. So you cultivated relationships with leaders and institutions around the world. So why is it critical that women have a powerful voice shaping international relationships and global economic opportunity. Because a lot of us just think, our family or our community, what school we went to, we don't tend to look up high enough to say there are women around the world who are like-minded, who believe and want more and better for not only themselves, but for the community and the world. So how do we make that connection to think global and to act globally?
But one thing that I would say just automatically as a woman and as women, we build community without even attempting to do it. It's just who we are as nurturers. And so I just believe in taking that nurturing, spirit that we already have and building out our community beyond what is local. Yes, the local part keeps you grounded. It reminds you who you are. But in this day and age of technology and decisions that are being taken and made on our behalves, not always with our input, I believe that it's strongly possible and necessary that we as women step out of our comfort zones, take up space in a room, sit at the table, be comfortable, take up space at that table as well. And it's important to me to continue to champion the voice of women so that we don't get sidetracked and feel like we have to play small. We play big. And we know that when you empower, when you motivate a woman, she changes nations, not just, a small little section. Women give out and they pour into.
Well, that's beautiful. I remember almost to the minute when I first discovered that my show was being aired in Africa, South Africa. It was aired in countries. Well, in African parts, I never, we hear Nigeria, we hear Ghana, but there are so many others that we never hear of, and they have the same issues and concerns and the empowerment that we have. So I want people to understand, you have to look at Africa. It's not just what you see on TV. There are not, there are some huts, there are safaris and all of that. But if you go, when you go, you're going to be awakened because it's so much more than that. So how do you explain that when people think you're just going and living in a hut? And if you are, that's an experience too.
Whether you're in a hut or a mansion, it's important that we put our feet on the ground on the continent. It's important that we understand this rich history that we come from, because the media can sometimes be very skewed toward things that are negative. There is no such thing as utopia other than that I know of, other than heaven. So every country, every place has its challenges. But what you will find in Africa is this sense of family, the sense of camaraderie, the sense of we're in this together. We're not trying to go alone because we can get somewhere fast alone. But if we really want to go far, we go together. And it's based on an African proverb. So I just feel like everyone should have an opportunity, regardless of your ethnic background, to touch Africa and see what Africa really holds. It's very special to me to sit in rooms with kings and with kings and queens, with chiefs and people who, have given their life for service and people who are continuing to serve. And what better way for us to see ourselves through that mirror reflection?
Okay, now that you've encouraged us and inspired us, what would be one of the first steps we should take to make this happen? Maybe not necessarily a trip to Africa yet. There's some things you have to do before you can even think about planning a trip, right? There vaccinations and all that stuff. But there's also community. You need to establish yourself as somebody who truly and uniquely and authentically want to help the nation, right? Not just show up saying, I want to go because I want to be global. So what advice do you give for us? What should be a starting point when we want to start elevating our thinking in our business, in our community?
The first step I would say is have a curiosity, with an open mind and an open heart. Read, do the research. What you sometimes see in the media is not an accurate depiction of what Africa is and who Africans are. It's an entire continent of many countries, not just one place. So do the research, read, have that hunger and that passion to connect, but do so wisely. And when you're ready, then give me a call, because one of the things that my firm does is we create, custom design missions and trips for people, whether they're wanting to do religious or spiritual, tours or trips. If you're looking to your business, or if you just say, hey, I want to go experience what the beach like is in Africa, well, we can do that too.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I definitely want to take some women over there with my Women on the Move Reimagine organization for women empowerment, and just create community within ourselves and further, right? So I'm going to call you for that. I don't know if we'll be called a delegation or anything like that. We're just going to be some women excited about. And I know I'm called to Uganda. That was prophesied to me by this pastor many, many years ago. He was over Christ the Rock, and I will never forget it. So I want to go and talk to women about business, and I want to hear what their needs are, their challenges are, because I'm sure they're pretty similar to ours. Do you think they are?
Very much so. When I sit and I talk to women, and one of the things that I do that's really important to me is I mentor women from across the world. And what I hear all the time is disinvestment, a lack of proper investment. I hear there, struggles with getting capital, struggle with growing and scaling the business. And it's usually because the technical capability is there, but it just needs to be nurtured a little bit more. And sometimes they just need someone to give them a roadmap or a blueprint. And that's one of the things that we do under an initiative that we created under my firm called the Pink Crown Initiative. We mentor and we support women, particularly those who are in business or they're looking at business. How do you grow? How do you scale? How do you recognize what your capacity is, what market you should be in, and what market you shouldn't be in? And then we help get their products or their services into where a lot of people want to work at or do things in the United States. So we identify opportunities with them international, whether it's on the continent, somewhere else in another continent, or even here in the USA.
See, I could just go on and on with this line of intrigue with you, but I know there are other things I want to talk about too, because leadership development is critical to any time, whether it's going to be just here on domestic soil or on international soil. So when it comes to leadership, it just not simply mean that you have a team and you're telling people what to do. To me, leadership is not only leading, but also always in the posture of serving these people. I want them better than before they worked on my team or were a part of my team. So how do you subscribe to what leadership should look like if we really truly want to be successful, not only individually, but corporately as well?
Leadership requires investment in yourself so that you really know if you are a quality leader, because not everyone is a good leader. Most people lead, they're just not always the best at it. And so to me, leadership requires that you invest in yourself, and then you invest in the people who are working with you, not for you, but working with you.
With you.
For my team, I always tell them this company that we're building, we are building it. Yes, there are some hits that I'm taking that maybe that you're not taking, but this is a work that we're doing that we are called to do. And so I invest in them. I show up when they don't even expect me to show up. If someone is sick, they have a need and I can help with that, then we're doing it. If someone has, lost a loved one and we can help support in that way, then we're showing up. If they need prayer, if they need a shoulder to cry on, then I do that. I don't put myself so high above the people who work with me that I leave them in the trenches by themselves. I lead from example of using Christ as my anchor, and he's the best example of leadership that I can give to someone.
Absolutely. So you're also bilingual, but I think bilingual to me is just you speak two languages other than your native tongue. So what languages do you currently speak?
It will depend on the day. It depends on the day and depends on who I'm speaking to.
Exactly.
I just left Miami for a Wealth Business Summit. So of course it was English and Spanish. Later on today, I'll be conversing with some colleagues who are in the French speaking side of West Africa. So we'll be speaking some French and some English. At the same time, I meet with my Ghanaian counterparts, friends, and family every day. So then there's the local language, Asantehene primarily, working with that one. So it just depends on the day, depends on the conversation. And there's ever a language that if I'm going somewhere and I don't know it, I'm a quick study and I can learn it pretty fast. My Arabic is okay, but don't try to quote me on anything. My Hebrew is also, my Hebrew is decent as well. So again, it depends on what the situation requires for the language that I'm able to pull up. And every now and again, you will hear them starting to be mixed in. So forgive me.
I understand that. Oh Lord, I'm not even going to say it, but I'll say it off air. It's crazy because I have a tendency to pick up accents when I'm talking to someone who has an accent, be it a hard Southern accent, if it's New York, if it's, Italian or Spanish.
Mhm.
I remember as a little girl noticing that that was happening, and it's nothing that I do. I just seem to acclimate to that accent, not necessarily speaking the language, but just having that accent of whoever I'm talking to. So
I'm
that just
that too. We're in the same boat. We're rowing together, very much so.
I love that so much. We're gonna take a break, and let me tell you, this show, we're not gonna leave. I'm gonna take a break, and we will come back. But I just want to say, Jiljuana, you came in here today and you gave us a master class in like 15 minutes in vision, courage, and purpose. I believe that every woman watching needed to hear this conversation because I certainly did. Thank you for sharing your brilliance with us, and I hope you'll come back and be our guest on the Loretta McNary Show real soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I can't wait to come back again.
Absolutely. And in closing, what I always say for the last 19 years, think positive, dream big dreams, help someone along the way, and honey, live like you believe.
Exactly.
All right, so I want to continue the conversation because I still have more questions for you, and I'm really intrigued with this conversation and for the people that are watching now and will watch later today. So we're in Memphis, Tennessee. You and I both travel extensively, and we go and have meetings with people that are not here locally with us. Not saying that's a thing. Well, it gives me superpower when I do that because I get a different perspective, I get a different insight. So, what one thing do we think we're missing in Memphis as women collectively that if we just had this one thing or did this one thing or subscribe to this one thing would really be a huge difference maker for everyone in the city?
I would say, and this may not be the most popular opinion, but I will
Yeah,
still share it.
this is just me and you and our opinions.
We have to get rid of the mean girl club, right? Or the feeling that people are only valuable to us depending on their pedigree or what our perceived idea of their pedigree is. It's being inclusive. It is lifting another woman up. It is giving her an opportunity to shine. It is saying, I will come next to you and we can do this work together. It is not being selfish. I think if we could just come together and be our true selves, whether that's
Mhm.
makeup, without makeup, whatever it is, and then really support each other. And if someone else is trying to degrade someone else for any reason, it's to stand up for that person. It's to mention that person's names in rooms that they may not ever be themselves. But it is
Yeah.
advocate for every woman. And if you see a young woman who has not arrived to the place that you've been polished to be into, because there's a polishing that comes with age, there's a wisdom that comes with age. And if you're ever
Absolutely.
you've made it to a certain, I'm use made in like air quotes, if you've made it to that place where you've been polished and someone has helped you, then reach back into the community, help another young woman who normally you might look at a little strange, help her, teach her, develop her, take her shopping, show her what she should wear, show her what her, her nails should look like, what's an appropriate hairstyle, help her with her makeup, whatever you can do to pour into her. Then I think that's so significant is to pour into each other and do it from a place of love, not in a place of
Absolutely.
them, but from a
Yeah.
place of compassion.
That is key. Do it from a place of love, not that I know better than you know because I'm older. Because sometimes wisdom does not mean it's wisdom for that person you're talking to. They want to hear that because they become defensive now. But I'm talking about if you're going into certain rooms, there is just a certain demeanor you have to have. There's a certain, and I'm not saying you got to fit in and you got to lose who you are at your core. I'm just saying for decor purposes, right? You don't want to draw away from whatever's being talked about,
Mhm.
and we all have to do it. I have to do it. My thing is I have to not wear dresses and heels everywhere. People don't want me to, but I still show up. So there's a fine line and you get to decide. But um professional decorum is what it is, no matter where you go. And when it's your business, you can do whatever you want to. You can wear a polka dot stripe and a hair bonnet and pajamas all day long. But if you're coming to another person's business and they've invited guests, then you kind of not want to wear that. Or you can stay home, or you can go and see if you can get in there. But I promise you, it would make life more difficult. It's just easier until because whoever has the money has the power. That's the thing. That's just true. No matter who you are, what color you are, what your pedigree is, like you said. And then treat everybody with respect and dignity. It should not matter what their job title is and how much money you think they have, because most wealthy people, not rich people, wealthy people, they don't drive big Bentleys and wear, Donna Karen and all that stuff and the red bottoms. They are simple. They look like they just came out of Walmart shopping, but their bank account tells a different story. So I'm glad you said that.
You're right. It's having the grace and the compassion to meet a person where they are.
Be kind. Be kind. And don't go in. As soon as you meet somebody, hey, girl, let me pull you aside because their dress is a little too short. Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion, what it is. So just be kind and be kind, y'all. Because you can misjudge a person based on how they're dressed too. Just because somebody is suited and booted don't necessarily mean they are the most amazing corporate person in the world. That just means they had a good shopping day and they went. So don't judge and don't criticize until you get to know somebody. So what's next for you? Because you've done so much. I mean, what's the bar for you? What's the next thing for you?
I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing, but magnify even more. I want to bring more women along with me on the journey. I want to start doing some things with master classes because I have so much in me and it's time for me to start sharing. I've been a little bit quiet. And so it's me also, stepping out of the shadows and fully embracing, this light that God has given me and this role He's given me. And so it's just continuing the work, and then it's growing and expanding the work. And it's taking other women with me. The men, they can come too, no problem.
Yeah, definitely. You're included. We're just talking because we're women. We can't speak for you. You're not here, but you're definitely always included.
So yes, definitely. I just want to keep learning, keep growing, keep exploring, and then building my tribe even more, because there's what reason to do it if you're doing it by yourself.
You are talking today. And that's why I feel like it was so necessary and important for me to this year for sure, because we talked about it. We played a little in the field of celebrating Women's History Month by spotlighting amazing women who are making history, in addition to celebrating those who made the history. So who inspires you? What woman would you say, oh my goodness, I love this about her? And once I took some of her advice and suggestions and the way she moved in a room, and I addressed it and I acclimated to myself, I became greater, bigger, better. Is there a person in your life that you can attribute some of that to?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to speak about two women. These two women are quiet thunders. One is my mom, Carolyn Coleman, and then the other person is Kathy Matthews Tyler, my godmom. These two women taught me how to have my voice, how to be articulate, and how to speak up for myself and others. They challenged me to see the world differently from other people, but to make sure that I always stayed grounded, that I always stayed humble. And from day one, they have been my biggest champions, my cheerleaders, and my advocates for everything that I've done, the good, the bad, the ups and downs, all of those things. They have never once let me do this by myself. So those women have been a rock for me. They've been my trainers. They've been my mentors. They've been my counselors. They've been my advisors. They are quiet thunders, but the work that they do and what they mean in my life, it really made the trajectory of my life be where it is today. It taught me how to be in the choir, from the choir, from the pulpit, sitting in the pews, all the way to the palace.
That's magnificent. I love that, because I say that about my mom too. She was a stay-at-home mom, but she engineered that thing and made it and had it down to a science of, and it looked like she was running a small country because everything was so well done, so well put together. I tell people my mom was doing charcuterie boards before charcuterie was even thought of or birthed. This is when I was little. She was setting things up so daintily, so beautifully. And honey, the house was immaculate. Everything. I told her she has OCD before OCD was a thing. But I have to attribute that to my mom, and the desire and the love is to walk out of the house when like I'm going somewhere, because I am. That's from my mom. This version of me is definitely attributed to the standard that she had for us. So have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome? Because you're so confident, you are so world traveled. Do you ever feel like this is not, it's unreal for you and you don't deserve it, or that you don't really see yourself like everybody else sees you as so dynamic and phenomenal?
I I have that own private struggle for myself. And I know it's probably difficult to believe, but even when I was preparing for today's show, just deciding what I would wear, and I was just like, oh, why would I wear that? And what about this color? And how would this look on me? And what is my strength? What is my calm in that moment? Is I pause and I take a moment and I begin to recite what God has said about me, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that I'm his workmanship, I'm his masterpiece. And that's talking about, the Lord himself. And understanding that is how I overcome those moments where I feel like I might not be good enough, or why would someone choose me, or why am I doing this work? And just any of those things, that sense of doubt, self-doubt, the self-worth, you start reevaluating yourself. But when I put it in the context of what God has said about me, then I go ahead, as we say, trouble my boots or put my good stiletto on, and I move forward. I don't linger in that place, because lingering is not, it just allows it to become an echo chamber for you over and over again. So even in my home, on the different mirrors, I've written notes to myself to remind me of who I am, just in case I forget. I reminding myself regularly.
Oh, I love that transparency and that vulnerability that you're able to share, because I think strong women do that. I used to think it was a weakness, right? Because I was taught to always be strong, to always show up confident, whether you felt it or not. And so I was learning to perform at that level all of the time. And so now I'm okay sharing, the little things that make me, and people think I have all this confidence and da 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 da. But honey, I am the silliest, the goofiest person. My children will like, mom, there she go again. Look at her, she's so dramatic. But I love how we can be multidimensional, right? Especially with people that we're close to. Like there's some things I would not share publicly that my close friends know or my sons know. So you don't have to be that. We are really every woman. We are. And if you're not, you might want to look at it, because don't let people hold you to a standard that they themselves are not held to, and don't let them berate you for having such a high standard. Because I say, let's rise up. I'm not too much. You're just doing too little. Yeah, because I get that a lot. Loretta, you just so much. You too much. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not. I used to take it and own what other people said about me, but I don't do that anymore because it serves nobody. All right. Any closing remarks? Anybody you want to shout out? Any business? Tell them how they can reach you and do business with you, or just connect.
Of course. So, Loretta, thank you again for allowing me on the show. I have truly enjoyed our time together. If there's anyone who wants to connect with me directly, you can call me at +901 290 7517. You can also find me on Instagram at Jill, Jill, knows strategy. And if you just type my name in anywhere on the internet, Jiljuana, I promise you it will get you to me one way or the other. I again represent Jamerson Strategic Consulting, your global consulting firm for doing great and big things. Thank you so very much. And to all the women or anyone who's listening, this is your opportunity. This is your moment. If you needed it to be said, this is the one to encourage you, to motivate you, to say, get out, get it done. Go be great. Don't play small. Take up space and change the world.
Oh, yes, honey. What do they do? This, I'm doing this. I'm doing clapping. Let me tell you, that was a powerful statement. That is what I always tell people. Just show up. You don't have to worry about, I don't have the money. I don't have the education. I don't feel like. That's the worst excuse ever, is saying you don't feel like doing something. Unless you really are medically ill, then I get that. But if you're saying I don't want to go because I don't feel like it, or I'm scared, or I don't know anyone, that's the most amazing time to go and do anything, is when you really don't want to. Because that's when I think the Holy Spirit really, you give him space to work on your behalf. And it's guaranteed you're going to know somebody, and there will be somebody waiting on you to come to kind of hold your hand. So let's go and dream bigger. Let's show up bigger. Let's, like she said, take up space. I say that all the time. So it's so funny that you said that. And women, like she said, when we all change and we connect together and we hold hands and we are stronger, we go further, faster, and together we're just, oh my goodness, we're unstoppable. But if you don't have that tribe or that team or that community yet, go by yourself, go alone, and I promise you they will come. Anyway, I'm going to let her go because I know she has things to do, and so do I. Got a world to go conquer in the name of Jesus. But everybody, be well, do the best. Good is not a compliment. I'm gonna tell you that now. I don't even know where this is coming from, but somebody said that was good. That's not a compliment to me, because that says you were average. No, don't tell me I'm good unless it was average. But if you really mean that I'm using myself was excellent or this conversation was amazing, then say that. Don't say it was good, because I'm telling you, it's a blessing to give, and whatever you pour out comes back to you. So thank you all so much for joining our conversation. Enjoy your day and go live like you believe, honey.